When it comes to mountains, height isn't everything. They come in all shapes and sizes, and quite often it's the most unusual that are the most brain-catching and rewarding to visit. Nature is capable of some pretty strange things. From ice-plastered peaks in Patagonia to chocolate hills of the Philippines, today we're going to count down the top 15 weirdest-looking mountains. Number 15. The Island in the Sky. Mount Roraima is more than a mountain, it's a big geological mystery. This flat-topped monolith, rising over 9,200 feet, appears like a floating stone island severed from the surrounding rainforest. It inspired Arthur Conan Doyle's novel The Lost World. Located within the Pacaraima chain on the Guiana Shield, Roraima is a type of tepui sandstone table mountain that is among the oldest formations on Earth, dating back nearly 2 billion years. The summit is home to carnivorous plants, strange rock shapes, and animal species found nowhere else. Due to its isolation, the top remains an ecological relic. The terrain is jagged, soaked by constant rain, and explorers compare walking on it to crossing the moon. Expeditions typically begin in Venezuela and involve multi-day treks across the savanna and river crossings. A natural stone ramp leads to the summit, but conditions are brutal: slippery moss, tropical downpours, and dense humidity. From above, it looks like a massive stone slab cutting through the Amazon's endless green. Number 14. Australia sits. Wave Rock. In the dry wheatbelt region of Western Australia, roughly 300 kilometers east of Perth, stands one of the most visually bizarre natural formations. It's called the Wave Rock. This massive wind-sculpted granite wall rises over 49 feet high and extends 360 feet long, shaped like a giant ocean wave caught mid-crash, frozen in stone. Its form is the result of more than 2 billion years of geological activity. It belongs to a broader granite formation called Haydn Rock, and its curling face was formed through a complex blend of chemical weathering, wind abrasion, and surface water runoff. The swirling patterns etched along its body resemble brushstrokes from a surrealist painting. But unlike many other worldly formations buried deep in remote terrain, Wave Rock is shockingly reachable. A paved road leads directly to it, allowing visitors to stroll along its base or hike its crest. Local Aboriginal stories add further depth. To the Noongar people, it marks the path of the rainbow serpent, an ancestral spirit that shaped the land. Number 13. Meteora. Some places don't look real even when you're standing in them. Meteora is one of those. Just above the plains of Kalambaka in central Greece, massive rock towers lurch straight out of the earth, gray, worn, and far too vertical. Carved by millions of years of erosion, some rise over 1,300 feet, crowned with ancient monasteries that look like they're balancing on the edge of heaven. These peaks were once part of a delta, then tectonic shifts and relentless rain sculpted the leftovers. By the 11th century, hermits had moved into the caves. A few centuries later, entire monasteries were hoisted onto the cliffs with pulleys and rope nets. Today, steep stairways replace the ropes, but the isolation still clings. From the top, it's all fertile plains, pine-covered hills, and stone that seems to float. Aerial views reveal a maze of natural spires, each topped with red-roofed sanctuaries clinging to rock like they've defied time, gravity, and logic all at once. Number 12. Chocolate Hills. Across Bohol Island in the central Philippines lie more than 1,200 perfectly shaped conical mounds, famously known as the Chocolate Hills. This place spans over 50 square kilometers and ranks among the planet's most visually unusual landforms. During the dry season, the grass covering these limestone hills turns from green to deep brown, making them look like thousands of chocolate drops neatly arranged across the terrain. They range in height from 98 to 164 feet, yet maintain a remarkably uniform shape and size, forming an almost symmetrical sea of humps that stretches endlessly. Local legends are amazing about this place. One tale tells of giants at war, hurling stones during battle. Another says a grieving giant's tears formed the hills, Beyond mythology, this region is ecologically important, sheltering species like the Philippine tarsier, one of the world's tiniest primates. From above, the chocolate hills resemble a dense matrix of soft, round dots scattered across green terrain, like nature's own hand-sculpted 3D texture map. Number 11. Zhangjiajie Pillars. In the cloud-draped highlands of China's Hunan province, there is a forest of stone spires that challenge the laws of physics. Within Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, a UNESCO Global Geopark, over 3,000 towering sandstone pillars stretch skyward, many rising more than 656 feet. They resemble blades, fingers, or, as many visitors note, the floating mountains from Avatar, which used the park as visual inspiration. These formations began over 400 million years ago when ancient seas deposited quartz-rich sandstone. Tectonic forces lifted the region, and intense erosion from rain, plant roots, and temperature changes sculpted the pillars into their iconic shapes. Among them stands Hallelujah Mountain, once called Southern Sky Column, now world-famous after its cinematic role. It towers at 3,543 feet. Many peaks bear poetic names like Monkey Savoring Peaches and Five Fingers Peak, reflecting Chinese myth and folklore. The Beilong Elevator, the world's tallest outdoor lift, rises 326 meters, revealing from above a clustered maze of stone reaching skyward through drifting clouds. It's cool, isn't it? Number 10. Shiprock. Rising 1,583 feet above the arid terrain of northwestern New Mexico, Shiprock is a jagged volcanic relic that dominates the horizon. Known as Tisay Bituawi in Navajo, meaning rock with wings, it looks like the fossilized spine of a prehistoric creature. This striking formation is the solidified core of a volcano that erupted around 27 million years ago. Over millennia, erosion wore away its softer outer layers, leaving behind the hardened volcanic plug. To the Navajo, it holds deep spiritual value. According to tales, a giant bird carried their ancestors to this land. After landing, it turned to stone, becoming the peak we see today. Because of its sacred status, climbing is forbidden, and the area is protected by tribal law. From above, Shiprock cuts through the desert like a dark arrowhead, flanked by long linear dikes that stretch like veins into the surrounding sands. On 3D satellite views, it forms a bold starburst, a volcanic fingerprint left on the Earth's surface. Number 9. Yelyu Geopark. Along Taiwan's northern shoreline sits Yilo Geopark, a windswept cape that feels more like an open-air sculpture garden than a geological site. This narrow landform juts nearly a mile into the East China Sea, constantly hammered by crashing waves and relentless sea winds. Over thousands of years, this forceful erosion carved the sedimentary rock into strange, sometimes whimsical forms. The most iconic is the Queen's Head, a tall, slender column topped by a bulbous crown, now a national symbol of Taiwan. Others include the fairy shoe, sea candles, and dragon's head, each with names rooted in local legend. These formations not only fascinate the eye, but also tell stories of tectonic uplift and sediment layering. The rocky coastline supports a variety of marine life, from seabirds to rare coastal plants clinging to the intertidal zone. From above, the park appears like a jagged lizard's tail curling into the ocean, and in 3D satellite view, its grooves and textures resemble an abstract landscape shaped by time. Number 8. Uluru. Well, you see it before you feel it, but once you feel it, it stays with you. Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock, rises 1,142 feet from the red desert floor like something the earth forgot to bury. It's one of the world's largest freestanding monoliths, 3.5 kilometers long, glowing with color that shifts as the sun moves. Formed over 500 million years ago, it's all-weathered sandstone and oxidized iron, burning orange by day, fading to deep crimson at dusk. The Anangu people have always protected it. Its caves, paintings, waterholes, and ancient paths aren't tourist attractions, they're spiritual lines. In 2019, climbing was banned permanently. The surrounding land, despite the brutal heat, holds over 400 plant species and rare wildlife that somehow adapted. From above, Uluru cuts through the beige outback like a rusted scar, so big, so cleanly shaped, it looks deliberate. But it wasn't made. It was never even placed. It just is. What do you think about it? Number 7. Bryce Canyon. In southern Utah's high desert, Bryce Canyon National Park holds a place that feels sculpted by dreams, spiked with stone figures called hoodoos. These vertical rock spires rise like twisted pillars, some stretching 200 feet high, formed through a unique mix of chemical and physical weathering. Millions of years ago, this region was submerged under a freshwater lake, leaving behind the soft limestone of the Clarin Formation. Rain slowly dissolved the rock into narrow fins, and freezing cycles cracked those fins into isolated towers. According to Paiute mythology, these formations are ancient beings turned to stone by the trickster god Coyote. Trails like Queen's Garden, Navajo Loop, and Peekaboo Trail let hikers descend into amphitheaters filled with orange, pink, and red towers. At sunset, the stone glows, and after dark, the skies reveal one of the clearest star fields on Earth. From above, the amphitheater edge resembles coral turned inside out, an eroded basin bristling with thousands of stony figures, each frozen mid-transformation. Number 6. Giant Sit's Causeway. Walk out along the rugged northeast coast of Northern Ireland and suddenly the land folds into hexagons. The Giant's Causeway doesn't ease into view, it slaps you with precision. Around 40,000 basalt columns jammed together like a geological puzzle. Most are six-sided, stacked like stone cigars, flowing in and out of the sea. These weren't carved by humans. They formed 50 to 60 million years ago when lava met cool air, cracked and cooled into what looks like frozen geometry. Some stand nearly 39 feet tall, others slope gently like a stone staircase for giants. It's tactile, grippy underfoot, patterned like ancient skin. Photographers love the symmetry, but it's the tactile weirdness that hits hardest. Nearby cliffs frame the scene, and sea spray adds just enough drama. From above, the causeway looks like a jagged ink stroke drawn across a smooth coastline. Up close or overhead, it's obvious this place wasn't designed, it was born, and somehow it still feels unfinished. If you want a thrilling journey, this place is it. Number 5. Mount Erebus. On Ross Island in Antarctica, Mount Erebus rises 12,448 feet above the ice, cold, brutal, and very much alive. It's the southernmost active volcano on Earth, and one of only a few with a persistent lava lake bubbling in its crater. Discovered in 1841 by British explorer Sir James Clark Ross and named after his ship HMS Erebus, this volcano has held scientists' attention for nearly 2 centuries. Unlike explosive volcanoes, Erebus releases gas and molten rock in quiet pulses. The lava lake fluctuates, sometimes tossing glowing bombs hundreds of feet. The terrain around it is pure punishment: glaciers, shattered lava fields, wind-carved ice, and near-permanent cold. McMurdo Station, the closest base, sits 22 miles away. Erebus was also the site of a 1979 disaster when an Air New Zealand flight struck the mountain, killing all 257 aboard. From above, it resembles a white dome stained with black scars. Even through satellite eyes, its summit plume marks a place untouched, unstable, and utterly unreachable. Number 4. Rainbow Mountain. High in the Andes of southern Peru stands a mountain so vibrant it seems digitally altered, but it's completely natural. Known as Vinicunca or Rainbow Mountain, this 17,060-foot peak bursts with stripes of red, gold, turquoise, lavender, and deep green. For centuries, it remained hidden beneath thick layers of snow and ice, unreachable and largely unknown. Only in recent years, after the ice began receding, did its colors reveal themselves. The trek to the summit begins near Cusco and involves a steep, high-altitude climb through remote Andean valleys where alpacas roam and traditional Quechua villages still thrive. At the top, the view is unreal, painted slopes so vivid they don't look like geology. But growing crowds have triggered conservation concerns. High foot traffic threatens both the soil and native wildlife. Now limits are being set on daily visitors. From above, it resembles a watercolor brushstroke slashed across the mountains, a jagged spine dressed in dragon-scale colors that contrast sharply with the barren earth around it. Number 3. Devil's Nest Tower. In Wyoming, Devil's Tower rises with abrupt authority, an 867-foot vertical monolith with grooves so precise it looks chiseled by machine. Its eerie symmetry and fluted walls made it the centerpiece of Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but it's far older than cinema. Devil's Tower is an igneous intrusion, the hardened core of a long-eroded volcano. Magma cooled underground, cracked into hexagonal columns, and over millions of years the surrounding sediment eroded away, leaving this singular tower. The vertical lines you see are the result of columnar jointing, a rare natural phenomenon found in volcanic formations. Declared America's first national monument in 1906, it holds sacred meaning for over 20 Native American tribes. To the Lakota and Cheyenne, it's Bear Lodge. Their legends say a giant bear clawed the rock while chasing children who had climbed to safety. From above, Devil's Tower looks like a dark thumbprint pressed into the plains, solitary, mysterious, and unmistakably ancient. Number 2. Bungle Bungle Range. There's nothing normal about the Bungle Bungles. This place looks like the outback sprouted a coral reef. Located in Pernalulu National Park, the Bungle Bungle Range is made up of hundreds of dome-shaped towers, each striped in orange and black. They look like beehives, but stacked by some ancient hand that had an eye for color. The dark bands are cyanobacteria clinging to damp layers. The orange ones are sun-baked sandstone rich in iron. These mounds are over 800 feet tall and formed some 350 million years ago, yet nobody outside of the Aboriginal custodians really knew about them until the 1980s. That's when aerial surveys revealed the full scope. Today, helicopter tours reveal the maze-tight ridges, sharp drops, and twisting gorges. Ground access is 4WD only. From the air, the whole formation swells out of the plains like bubble wrap pressed against red clay. It's organic, surreal, and completely out of place in the wide nothingness of the Kimberley. Alright, now let's end this with Number 1. Marble Caves. Beneath the glacier-fed waters of General Carrera Lake in Chilean Patagonia lies a stunning natural wonder, the Marble Caves. Carved by relentless wave action over thousands of years, this labyrinth of polished calcium carbonate chambers glows in shades of soft blue, green, and silver. Reflections from the surrounding lake bring the formations to life, transforming them into a luminous liquid cathedral. The swirling lines in the rock were sculpted slowly over 6,000 years. The caves include 3 main features: the Marble Cathedral, Marble Chapel, and the Core Marble Cave, each offering its own blend of echoing domes and twisting corridors. The cathedral's tall twin pillars and domed ceiling give it a sacred, haunting beauty. Despite being isolated, only accessible via long drives and boat rides, the caves draw travelers from across the globe. From above, they're too small to detect, but the lake's brilliant blue outlines a marbled peninsula, and under certain lighting, you can see subtle reflections glittering on the water's surface like scattered shards of glass. If you've enjoyed watching this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you in the next one.